Well, as you know, we have a big storm system on the way, another one that is expected this weekend to bring heavy rain, intense downpours, and unfortunately, yes, once again, a very high risk of additional landslides. We've been having landslides here, there, through the last several months, and yet another storm system going to exacerbate the problem. We're going to now talk to someone who knows about landslides, maybe better than anybody, Wendy Bohon with the U.S. Geological Survey, and you know about what has been happening the last few months very well. Can you tell me how bad, just the last couple of months, how bad have the landslides been in terms of how many we've had compared to what we would normally see? Let's start with that. How bad is the situation?
Well, whenever we have rainfall events, lots of rainfall across California, we can expect there to be landslides because when you have a lot of water entering the system, you start to stress those hill slopes. And so whenever we see a lot of water coming, we always know that there's an increased possibility of landslide activity. And so people really need to be vigilant. I know it's been a tough couple of months, especially for the Southern California area, and people know what to do. They know what to look for. So we need to keep up that vigilance and make sure that people are prepared when the storm system comes into town.
So what can people do to prepare? I mean, we're about a day, a little more than a day away from the real heavy stuff. What, if anything, really, can people be doing at this point, especially if they live on a landslide, or not landslide, a hillside? What can they be doing right now to prepare?
Right, that's a great question because we know that landslides are going to happen, but fortunately, there's a lot that we can do to mitigate that hazard. A lot of things that you can do, you want to do before the storm arrives. So you can always have your property checked out. You can talk to local officials to learn specific things that you can do in your area. But before this storm comes in, make sure that you're a careful observer of the land around where you live. You want to make sure you clear out any debris from drain pipes. You want to let the water flow into those culverts and into those spaces where we know that the water is going to be able to flow out of the area safely. But you also want to be on the lookout for things like tilted light poles or trees that might be tilting, any cracks in the ground that may have formed or started to open up. You also want to check your retaining walls, make sure that they're in good repair, and generally just be aware of your surroundings at all times because places where there have been landslides before, there are likely at some point in the future to be landslides again. But we can always prepare and mitigate that hazard along with our local emergency responders, local officials, and scientists. We all work together to make sure that we can be safe in California and help to save lives and property.
And this is a problem, obviously, this weekend, and it could be pretty bad this weekend. Am I right on that? I mean, what do you envision is, and I don't want to be alarmist, but as like a worst-case scenario? Could it be a widespread thing that we see?
Well, it depends on the rainfall because landslides happen in places, like you said, where we have these slopes, especially steep slopes, and also where we have weak rocks. And so when you add water into that equation, the water makes these hillsides very heavy. If you've ever been hiking or walking around camping, you know that water is heavy when you carry it. And it's the same on these hill slopes. It gets into the spaces in between the grains of soil and dirt, and it can destabilize that slope. And so it depends on how heavy the rainfall is, how quickly the rain falls, and in what places as to what exactly we're going to see. So again, we've mapped out areas where landslides are likely to happen. We know places where that's a higher hazard. And so in those areas, emergency officials are going to be keeping their eyes open. And we need you to stay vigilant. All of the people that are out there, make sure that you're paying attention again, because there's a lot that you can do to decrease your risk in these situations.
Wendy Bohon with the California Geological Survey, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And for now, we'll toss it back to you. Marla, Alex.